It was 2:57 a.m. when the door finally opened. The headlights swept across the wall, cut out, and the house fell into silence again. She stumbled in, heels in her hand, perfume heavy enough to choke the air. "Don't start," she said before I even looked up. I didn't. I just stared at the clock. 2:58. The digital seconds crawling like insects. She tossed her bag onto the couch, her voice sharp, defensive. "I'm not a prisoner, you know. I'm allowed to have a life." I took a slow breath. My pulse was calm, too calm. Then she said it. "Stop acting like you own me." The words sliced clean through whatever was left of us. I met her eyes, not angry, not pleading, just done. "You're right," I said quietly. "I don't own you." A pause, a long one. Then I added, "I don't even want to rent you anymore." Her face changed. Confusion, realization, then fear. That was the moment she understood I wasn't bluffing. I turned off the light, left her standing there in the dark. The next morning, she acted like nothing happened, made coffee, hummed to herself. But I watched her, the small glances at her phone, the quick replies she tried to hide behind her mug. She was restless, trying to pretend control while losing it. We'd been married 7 years, long enough for me to know when she was lying. Her girls' nights had multiplied. Her phone started living face down. The perfume changed. And that new dress, the one she swore was for work events? Work ended at 5. She came home at 3 in the morning. It wasn't about control, it was about respect. The kind that dies quietly when someone thinks you won't notice. But I noticed everything. The small things always expose the biggest lies. I didn't confront her. I let her believe she'd won the argument. Let her think I was tired, defeated. She mistook silence for surrender. By the second week, I was collecting data like a surgeon preparing for precision. Her phone backups, GPS locations, credit card statements. Every truth she thought she'd buried under excuses was waiting in plain sight. Thursday night, she said she was meeting Tina for drinks. I smiled and kissed her goodbye. An hour later, I was sitting in my car across from a hotel parking lot, the kind that rents by the hour but looks expensive enough to pretend otherwise. I saw her step out of a silver SUV. Not with Tina, with him, her coworker, the one she called annoying. He touched the small of her back like he owned the password to her soul. I didn't move, didn't blink. I just memorized it. The tilt of her head, the laughter I hadn't heard in months. They disappeared inside. I stayed until the lights in the window went dark. When I drove home, I wasn't angry, just precise. The human heart can only break once. Everything after that is maintenance. The following Sunday, I made breakfast. Bacon, eggs, black coffee, her favorite. She walked into the kitchen wearing that same fake ease. "Morning," she said softly, testing the temperature of my mood. I handed her an envelope. No name, no explanation. She opened it slowly. Photos, timestamps, hotel receipts. Her hand trembled so hard one photo slipped to the floor. Her reflection in the glass door of that same hotel, him behind her. "Where did you—" I interrupted quietly. "Doesn't matter." She started to cry, the kind of tears that beg for mercy, not forgiveness. I poured my coffee, sat down across from her. "I stopped loving the version of you that needed hiding," I said. She reached out. I moved my hand away. In that silence, she realized there was nothing left to say. That night she tried to talk, to explain. "It wasn't serious," she whispered. I almost laughed. "You mean it wasn't convenient anymore?" Her eyes went wide. She knew I wasn't angry, and that terrified her more than rage ever could. "I'm moving out," I said calmly. "You can stay until the lease ends. Consider it a grace period." She blinked. "The lease?" I smiled faintly. "You were right. You're not mine. You're just rented space I no longer need." Her face crumbled, not from heartbreak, but from the collapse of control. That was my quiet revenge. Not screaming, not slamming doors, just taking back every ounce of power she thought she owned. I moved out the next morning. One suitcase, no goodbye. She called twice that week. I didn't answer. The apartment I found was smaller, quieter, empty but honest. Honesty has its own kind of peace. Some nights I still hear her voice in my head, sharp, defiant. You don't own me. She was right. I never did. But the part she'll never understand is that love isn't ownership. It's investment. And when an investment turns toxic, you pull out before it destroys you. I left the keys on the counter, walked out without looking back. Ownership ends. So does interest. And mine expired the moment she said those words.